What's up? Look, I got both thumbs up. Oh, what else are you going to talk about today? It's not action figures. What could it possibly be? Well, you may not know this about me, but I used to be a skateboarder. About that long ago. If you know what this board is, it's like 30 some years old. It came out in 1988. I think I had maybe 3 or 4 of this board. The first one I had was green. Then I had another one I got from a friend that had a different graphic than this. And then I had this one. And I had the original Grigley. It was, I think, also a green board. But anyway, that was my favorite board back in the day. And this one's got something we used to do to help with the weight distribution at the base of the skateboard was put, what's it called? I think it's called the cell block. So if you look at it, you can see how it triangulates the base. So that was a cool thing to do if you were into ollieing, then you had to be into landing, because you're usually popping over something or up onto something or off of something from somewhere to somewhere. And hell, you might be grinding on the trucks, like those have seen many, many curbs and obstructions in its day. And this was the very last board I bought. And it wasn't 1988. It was probably more like 1990. I bought this board like 3 times. This same board. This is number 3. I don't quite remember what happened. I know I had one of them that had the Union Street, or I'm sorry, not Union Street, what was it? Vision Streetwear. I had done it in the logo in the grip tape, and then done something else down here related to, I think the Tracker logo or something. I just did it one day. I didn't really plan it. I went and got a board. It may have actually been this exact same board. It's been so long, I cannot remember every skateboard that I had. I had a lot of them, besides the Grigleys. God, what else did I have? Maybe some Powell Perotas somewhere along the line. But yeah, there's what I had done into my grip tape to match the black and red. Yeah, I don't know what that even says. What does it say? Eat my shoes? Oh, I don't know what that means. I was just trying to fill it with anything I could think of, and it wasn't much. It was long before I discovered weed. I'm sure I would have been a lot more creative with it than that. But it might have actually meant something back then. It's hard to say. I might have read it somewhere and thought it was funny and just put it on there. Oh, it might have been Bart Simpson. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. Step off. This is like shortly after the 1980s, so who knows what I was thinking. There's a lot of things I thought was cool back then that don't stand the test of time. So that's my board. So what kind of wheels have I got on this? These are death. That's all they say. They're an extremely hardcore wheel. They're still kind of tall, I think. I don't know. It was definitely the last set of skateboard wheels I had ever bought. And can you hear those bearings? Those are NMB. Maybe that one's not so good. But I bet you if I took these off of there and greased them up, they would probably spin a lot better. Maybe I'll have to do that one of these days. Maybe Kit Basher will have to upgrade his skateboard. I think I'm going to take this out a couple of times this summer and kind of revisit skateboarding, and hopefully getting on the board that I had skated, 30 some years ago now, 35 at least. Yeah, this would have been the last skateboard that my feet ever stepped on. I had a bunch of different ones. I even had I had a Larry Mullen, I think it was a Larry Mullen, freestyle board. And those were the first boards that had a kicktail and a straight nose that was as long as what the kicktail was. And then eventually, I think in the early 90s, right about the time I got out of skateboarding, all of a sudden the skateboards were equipped with a tail on the front and the back, so that you could just freestyle from anywhere you were. And I thought that was interesting when I saw that. But I had stepped away from the skateboard to pursue playing the bass. It took skateboarding one time and jamming my hand into the concrete and then not being able to play as well as what I should have been able to play. And then I was in a band with my then bass instructor, the guy I was taking music lessons from. He recruited me to play in his cover band, and I still had, eventually I quit taking bass lessons and took like some keyboard lessons, and then, lost interest in it at some point. But where was I going with that? I don't even remember. I got talking about all that stuff. Oh, I jammed my hand while I was skateboarding, and I couldn't play as well as I should have been able to play, either at a practice or maybe even a gig. But he let me know that I needed to make a decision because, you're not getting paid to skateboard, and it's dangerous for your body, and it could end your bass playing career. All you got to do is break your hand a couple of times, and you're never going to have the strength you have right now. And that was enough to scare me into not skateboarding. So I probably still have the ability to use my hands in a strong way because I didn't continue skateboarding for another, 35 years. It's been at least 35 years. So I graduated in 1990, and I think I skated a little bit through that summer, but I was mostly working back then. Yeah, and who knows what my schedule was. Before I started gigging, I was, working real shit wage jobs, like, $3.35 an hour was minimum wage back when I started working. So, yeah. So, anyway, I was making money playing music. I wasn't making money playing on a skateboard. So something had to go. But I'm just going to put that up there again. This was always one of my favorite graphics because it was super spooky. It was almost kind of Halloween-ish in, the goblin kind of look. And then, it was, this is like, generation 3 of this design. Yeah. Because I think this was, number 3. It's got a number 3 on the bottom. There was another one with this face on the front of it, on the actual board, and on the graphic, it had that sideways face profile, and it had a little bit different shape, a little bit shorter shape than the original Grigley, and I think that also had a similar face to this at some point. I only seen a picture of him skating it, and it was never, I never saw the board, the particular board I'm talking about, but that was always my favorite graphics, that and the old Ghosts. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up landing on some sort of Grigley type of board. I'm looking for something in this range of disturbing, kind of look, just for nostalgia. Yeah, and I wouldn't mind trying something with a little bit more weight up front. So, yeah, one of these days. But I'm going to get out on this and revisit the game of skateboarding a little bit this summer before I go bonkers and try to buy a, you can get a Tony Hawk board at Walmart for $25 nowadays, and I looked at it and it didn't seem to be a terrible board. For $25, I might just try it. Who knows? But yeah, I want to get out on this a couple of times and get a feel for it. Maybe spray some penetrate on these bolts and stuff and loosen them up and then tighten them back down before I get out on it. I definitely need to do a little bit of kit bashing on this. I'm not gonna lie, it feels like it's a little out of whack. And the only thing I can remember seriously from skateboarding that stands out the most is I was a king of slalom riding, which all my friends would have one foot on the board and then they would be kicking the ground with their other foot and they would get wore out. By the time we got to where we were going to skate, they were wore out. They didn't have any energy to do half of the stuff. So they had to hang out for like a half an hour or so to kind of rest after all that kicking and trying to keep up with Tom. This guy right here. Because I was slaloming, and I had my truck set up so that all I had to do was just bend my knees and my ankles in the right way and push the board this way and push the board that way. And I started to slalom. And on a flat surface, going down the road or sidewalk, I could get anywhere I needed to go. I mean, a sidewalk is like somewhere between 3 foot and 4 foot wide. That is plenty of room for me to build up a lot of speed just slaloming. That used to be one of my favorite things to do. And I tell you what, it'll keep you in shape. Hop on one of these bad boys and learn how to slalom. Yeah, you're going to get somewhere quick. You're going to fall a few times. You're going to hit some stones and you're going to tumble. So, be prepared for that. But, don't worry about all those crazy tricks and all that stuff. Skate circles around all your friends by learning how to slalom. Seriously. Learn how to slalom. It's a lot of fun. Because then you can literally slalom your way to where you're going. And you get there and you're ready to skate as soon as you get there. Like you might have a drink of water or something, but you're ready to hit the ramp or whatever it might be that you're going to skate. We had the Mott signs in Flint, and we used to try to get enough speed so that they went like this. They had a very tight transition at the bottom, and then they went up in columns. And somebody would be trying to skate one side, and somebody would be trying to skate the other. And it just, because it had transition, we had to skate it. That's just the rules. I know you're not supposed to skateboard on the Mott signs, but we did. And we had a lot of fun doing it, and we got chased out of there by a lot of security personnel. And then eventually, a few years later, I ended up going to Mott for a couple of years, taking some classes in the whole design world and everything. But yeah. And I think, these skateboard graphics, they're one of the things that got me into, well, not so much got me into artwork, but it got me thinking about, the limitation of color in your design. Like it has red, and it has the yellow, and it has the blue, and then the black. And then so there's a definite layering of the printing process going on with these boards. And one of these days, I would love to visit a shop that's actually building boards like this and doing the old school design layering like this. This is a 4-color design, and then on the front of it, it's just a 2-color. Well, actually, no, it is, yeah, just a 2-color. Yep, it's the red with the black, and then the 4-color on the back. So, yeah, that'd be like 4 screens, starting with the yellow, then the blue, then the red, then the black. From what I know about printing, anyway. Once again, I'm going to throw that up on the screen. And, yeah. Got to do a little tweaking on this thing before I trust myself going anywhere on it. I'm not going to hit the ramp anytime soon. Although that would be fun. Yeah, so maybe I'll get some video of this thing this summer. And me hopefully not falling on my ass. All right, have a good one.